Meta changed completely in the last 6 months, and after spending $94 million in ad spend this year, here's the creative system that actually works for us. I'll go through the formats, the angles, the awareness levels, the editing, and everything that we do to scale our clients past $1 million a month. Here you can see how much we spent in the last 6 months. You can see here the overview from Meta. We spent $47 million in the last 180 days and about $94 million in the last year. First thing you need, in most cases, you're not doing nearly enough ads, so you're gonna need more ads. That's the most important thing you need to scale. And then we're gonna see what else you need to do in case you're already doing a lot of ads to actually scale to $1 million a month and more. But first of all, if you don't do enough ads, I want to just make sure you understand that it's gonna be hard to get to 1 million a month. But that's what you need to do. So if your competitors already launch hundreds of ads a month, that's what you have to do, because you just have to be better than your competitors to scale to millions of dollars a month. And to do that, it's very important that we set our goals. We decide what goals do I have, and where do I want to get, and what are the inputs that will help me to get to those goals. So how many creatives do I need to do to get to that goal? Or how many landing page tests? What do I need to actually do to get to that goal? And so you're gonna think it's hard to do so many ads, but that's a way to beat the competitors. And actually it's harder to not get to your goals. So it's very important that you actually focus on doing volume, on doing what you actually need to do to scale. So I just wanted to start with that. Then it's very important that you start to think not about just ads, but the overall process. So if you already have a team, that's perfect. And what I'm gonna share here, it's gonna be very easy to apply. If you don't have a team, it's fine, but you just have to think about everything as a process, not just improving one single ad, but actually improving the overall process that can work without you and get these results. So you don't have to just improve one ad, but you can improve the overall process and get much better results, and you can have much more leverage on your work. And to basically to scale, you need the main thing you have to do is do a lot of ads, a lot of good ads, so making sure the overall strategy is very good, so you have a high win rate. And also the diversity part, just targeting different angles, different buyer personas, and that will help you to scale because you reach a bigger part of the market. So as we said, first we decide the goal, the revenue you want to make, or the profit, and divide it by year, quarter, month, whatever. And then you have to see what the competitors do, and ideally you do more, you put more work in. You should not look for a shortcut and just how can I do that winning ad, and more about how can I make sure they have a process that works. I can consistently doing more and better work in competitors, and without spending obviously like spending what you can spend, because you don't want to just invest hundreds of thousands a month on this process if you can't do it right now. But it's very important you think about creating an overall process. So what we normally recommend to do, and what we do for us, is deciding the number of concepts that I'm gonna test every week, the formats I want to test, the hook variations that I have for each concept. And you can even like decide the landing page tests you do every month, and you want to make sure you track them. So if you have someone in the team that is actually responsible for those metrics, you have a weekly meeting where you go over these metrics, and even if it's yourself, it's very important to track those inputs. Something we do internally, for example, is having a weekly tracker where we can check if we actually did those inputs that will bring us to the outputs, to the goal that we decided. For example, we said we're gonna do 5 concepts every week, and then we see this week we did 5. Okay, can we do even more? Like what's the highest leverage thing is gonna bring us to better results? Maybe we just do more ads, or maybe we have to improve the quality of the ads. And if we don't reach that input goal, then we say, okay, why did this happen, and what do we have to do to make sure we actually do this input and we actually get this number of ads every week? Because it's going to be very important to actually get to the goal. It's not going to be one shortcut. It's going to be the overall plan that is going to, and those inputs that you decided, that is going to bring you to the results you're looking for. So first of all, more ads, making sure you decide the number of ads you're going to do every week, and making sure you actually do them, and you do good ads, obviously. But once you are doing a lot of ads and you already do, let's say, 50 ads a month with at least 10 unique concepts with new scripts, new ideas, and different variations. Once you do that, it's not always about more ads. Yes, sometimes you can just do more ads and get more results, but if you already test 100, 200 ads a month and you're not growing, you don't get new winning ads, you're not scaling and then getting like a higher ad spend and more revenue, then the problem is not more ads, because it's gonna be something like this. You do a lot of ads that are not working. So scaling is not just about more ads, it's about more winning ads. And so we are not gonna talk about how to create more ads, but we're gonna talk about how to create more winning ads. So you have two main variables to scale, right? To get winning ads. So you scale with winning ads, and you have two variables you can control. One is your win rate. What's the percentage of ads that become actual top spender in the ad account? They go to the top of the, like if you just sort the ads by amount spent, they're gonna be number 1, number 2, number 3. Those are your actual winning ads and the type of ads you want to find with your process. It doesn't matter if they get $500 with a good CPA. Those are not winning ads. Those are not incremental, and they would probably not help to increase your ad spend and you increase your revenue. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what you're looking for is ads that allow you to spend more on Meta and to make more revenue and make more profit, right? If you don't see that happening, there is a problem. Most of the time, the highest correlation that you see to spending more and getting more revenue and profit is finding ads that actually become the top spender in the ad. Okay, so you have two main variables. One is the win rate. What's the percentage of ads actually become winners, but real winners, like top spender ads? The other one is the volume of unique concepts that you do, not just iterations, like hook variations. I mean, that's fine if you find like huge winners from those iterations, but mainly like looking at the quantity of ads in terms of unique concepts. And if you see that the last true winner is from 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, then probably there is something broken in your process and you need to focus more on your win rate. Because maybe you can do 1,000 more ads, 5,000 more ads in a month, but then it's not actually bringing you more results. And you always have to make sure that you look at the incrementality of the new creatives. Like you're doing 5 times more creatives, are you generating more revenue? Like is the additional ad spend you're spending there generating more? Or do you see that by doing this, you're gonna get in a couple of months better results? You have to always be very careful with that. And also tagging everything. So something we do, for example, with our creatives, we tag the source, the month, the angle, the format, and that allows us to understand a lot of things, like if the new batches are profitable, if we are scaling with them, if some formats are working better, if some angles are working better. And as we said, what you want to focus on basically is creating more ads first, then you want to focus on the win rate, because probably as you create more ads, you're gonna start to see a lower win rate, lower percentage of ads that become top spenders. So once you see that happening, you're gonna work on the win rate with everything that I'm gonna tell you later about the overall strategy, and then you're gonna see, okay, the win rate is fine. I'm actually finding a lot of new winners now, and I'm fine with the current percentage of winners, so I'll just have to create more ads with this strategy. And then again, you're gonna see win rate getting lower. Creating more, you need to create more ads. You need to focus on improving the win rate again. So this is a cycle. And basically you have to understand what's your constraint to scale. Is it creating more ads or creating better ads? And now, especially with Andromeda, with new update, we see that something that you have to focus a lot on is the creative diversity. Because for Meta, if you upload 100 ads that are very similar, it's gonna be like one ad. So something a lot of people get wrong is that they think they just don't have to do any hook iterations, any iterations at all. It's fine to do some iterations, and that helps to convert better that audience that you are already targeting. And so you can just get a bigger part of that audience. But what's happening is that Andromeda is recognizing as similar creatives and giving the same entity ID to creatives that look similar. So that means that if they look similar, it's not going to give that much spend on the creative, and especially it's going to go to the same audience. So you're not going to scale much more. When you want to scale more, you have to not just go to a specific audience, but be able to add additional audiences. So you do that by creating different creatives. There are two main things you can do. One is using different formats, communicating the same message in a different way, so it gets to different type of audiences that consume different type of content, but resonate with the same message. The other thing you can do is you can use the same format or even a different one, but talking about a different angle, a different buyer persona, and that will allow you to just go to completely different type of people. And we see now this with Andromeda that it's becoming very important, because before you could have more broader ad that was resonating with a lot of different customers, but now Andromeda is very good at matching the right creative to the right person, and so it's dividing the audiences in much smaller pockets, and you need to just have a more strategic approach to the audiences you are targeting, to the angles you are targeting, and to the formats you use. So I'm going to show you how we create ads, how we create winning ads by focusing on one side on the volume, creating a lot of ads, because we want to make efficient and we want to push on this side too, and also like on the win rate, having good win rate. So after doing the research initially, we organize everything in selling blocks. The selling blocks are pain points, benefits, features, all these things that we use to write the script. So after organizing the whole research, we just reorganize it in selling blocks. And this is very useful, and we go back to the research every month after learning new things, and we can have also different selling blocks and different researches for different buyer personas for the same product. And we take a lot of insights from what the customers actually say, and from the reviews they leave, for example, what they say online, and that's very powerful, because then if you use that, they are gonna feel like if you speak directly to them. After doing this research and organize it in selling blocks, another thing we do is we organize everything in a creative strategy map. So for a product, we say, okay, this is the main buyer persona, and we are gonna divide the buyer persona in awareness levels, and then for each awareness level, we are gonna have different angles and different formats. For example, let's say we have one a skincare product, skincare cream for men, and we can say, okay, we are gonna go to this buyer persona is like 50 years old man with some specific and we're just gonna describe it a bit more specifically, obviously, or we can say the reason to buy they have, the main reason, and then we can divide in awareness levels, and we can say, for example, for unaware, we can use this angle that is about the sun damage and like how bad the sun is for your skin. And then we can use a dermatologist for the format to communicate that message, and just an expert. So that's something that allows us to organize everything and making sure we are very strategic with just the overall process and prioritizing the angles that are going to work best, and how we communicate them, and all of these. This also creates a map for us that allows us to understand, okay, this angle worked very well, and we're going to double down on this. We're going to try it with different formats. This didn't work, maybe we try it with a different format, maybe we stop doing it. And it makes sure that we just have a more systematic method, that we are not just trying a lot of things without really understanding what works and what doesn't work, because we want to make sure that we either find a winning creative or we learn some. So that will become something like this, the creative strategy map, where basically you have all these different buyer personas. Normally 2 or 3 are fine. Obviously, as you scale to several $1 million a month, you want to have many more buyer personas. And for each one, we divide the awareness levels, we list angles for each awareness level for that buyer persona, and then we can decide the best formats we can use to communicate that angle. And the awareness levels are are very important because especially as you scale, you're gonna have to go more unaware. For some products, you have to go completely unaware, while for others, you don't need to. You can also scale a lot with just a product-aware audience, a solution-aware audience, but usually you want to go more unaware or problem-aware as you scale. So the process to pick an ad that you want to create is basically first deciding the buyer persona or the reason to buy that you're gonna speak to. So I'm gonna speak to this buyer persona, then I'm gonna speak to this awareness level of this buyer persona, like a buyer persona that has this specific awareness level, and then I'm gonna use this specific angle to basically present my product and why my product is the solution to their problem, and then I'm gonna pick this specific format to communicate that angle, and then I can start to actually produce the ad, so doing the script and everything else. So in terms of production, a script for us looks like this normally, where basically we have a script divided in selling blocks. So for each script, for each sentence, we're gonna have a selling block, and we want to make sure every sentence is helping to sell. And we're gonna take these selling blocks from the, as you can see, the process from the initial research we did. So we use a lot of frameworks that already work very well for us, a lot of scripts that are winning scripts, and we just readapt them. And sometimes we also take, for example, a competitor ad who's working pretty well, we can transcribe it and we can adapt it to the specific brand, or we can see something that works very well on organic, we can transcribe that video and then adapt it to the product. So that's something that works very well for us. But it's very important that you understand very well the customer, because if you don't understand the customer, it's going to be very difficult to do a good script. So the research is one of the most important parts, obviously. Then the other thing we do is we work on the formats, and we say, okay, now that we decided the angle and we decided everything, we're gonna the overall strategy, let's see what's the best format, because sometimes it's not just what you say but also how you say it. So making sure the script is to the point and just communicating the right way for that audience, and also that you use the right format that actually makes people believe in the ad and actually stop and watch the ad. Because if you see, basically every brand is doing UGC right now, is doing like this same type of UGC ads. When you look at an ad, you understand very quickly that it's an ad, and that's why maybe don't stop, just scroll. And that's the main problem. Like your ads maybe look like ads, and if they do, you have to make sure that you also work on the format to just make people stop. They can look like an ad, but especially in the first seconds, it's better if they really capture the attention, and you can do that by being very direct, but a lot of competitors already do that, or you can be a bit more organic. And if you have some scripts with someone saying, I'm obsessed, this is a game changer, love this product, a lot of times will feel fake and people will not trust you. So you want to use more organic formats and make sure people actually stop, they listen, and they trust that this is actually true or the product is actually interesting for them. Something we see working very well for us are the podcast style ads, the search interviews, educational ads, authority figures, POV, and in general like stuff that looks more like organic. So people stop more, they believe it more. Then yes, you also have like classic video sales letters that still work very well, really direct response, so that can still work. It's just the classic UGC that is working worse, and in general, like if you can do something a bit more organic, it will stop people more. But you can also go very direct and using a direct response ad and speaking directly to the problem. So that's also another way to do it, where basically you maybe stop less people, but you get a lot of people to the page and to actually buy. But ideally you combine the two things. Then obviously once you have the ad, you decided the script, you decided the format, you decided the creator, the actor you're gonna use, you're gonna edit the ad once you have the footage, and the main thing is keeping it simple and organic for your target audience. Obviously if you are 20-30 years old, your feed is going to be very different from a 60 years old woman. So you want to make sure that, especially if you're trying to make an ad that looks a bit more organic, that actually your ad is actually similar to what these people see on their feed. So they're gonna stop, they're not gonna think it's an ad in the first second. And if you do a lot of video sales letters show a lot of ads with existing footage, the main thing you should do is probably build a footage library, and you just organize everything in you organize a lot of clips in your footage library, so it's very quick for your editor to just look at the script and edit it very quickly, especially if you're doing ads without needing new. And ideally organize it by selling blocks, let's say, or at least hook, problem, solution, the parts where you show the product, and just divide it in several parts, so it makes the editor job easier and you can be more efficient. Then once you do all of these, you just basically want to understand what worked and what didn't work. And when something worked, you just want to double down on that, but also continue to explore new things. And if something didn't work, you want to make sure you're learning something from that, and you are writing down some hypotheses and then using those for your next ad. In terms of tracking the ad, something we do is like we add a lot of tags, and this is very useful for us and for our clients. So something we highly recommend to track is the source. So what's like adding a code in the ads, so you can just filter them to see which percentage is from an agency, which percentage is maybe from another agency, from the internal team, and you can see different sources and how much revenue they are generating, how much ad spend, and you are allocating on those, and making sure that like also understanding what's working bad. The other thing is the batch, because maybe you have, let's say that we as an agency for a brand, we are taking 80% of the ad spend and generating 80% of the revenue in that specific month, but maybe all the ads are from a year ago. So that means that all the new ads we're creating are not new winners, so probably there is a problem in the process, right? So we want to make sure we also try to monitor very well that part, and understanding which percentage each source is getting, like each creative strategist or agency or internal team, and also the percentage that each batch is contributing to the overall ad spend. And ideally, you are taking a very high percentage of ad spend with each new batch. And that means that you are doing something incremental, and the effort you're putting, the investment you're making on creatives is actually helping you to grow. And otherwise, you just want to understand how to fix that process. So just to recap, we said, first of all, you want to scale, right? You want to scale your business. And to do that, the highest correlation you normally can see is to find more winning ads. Obviously, if you continue to do ads very well and everything you're trying to scale, and you can scale, maybe you have to fix something else. If you have to fix the offer, you have to be able to pay more for the CPA to get customers, because maybe your competitors are paying more. You have to test more in terms of landing page and other stuff, and you're gonna have to focus specifically on new angles and new formats. So that's gonna allow you to get to new audiences, because you're gonna target different reasons to buy, and also you're gonna use different ways to communicate that message that will allow you to get to similar audiences that they have similar reasons to buy, but they just consume different type of content. And then you have to make sure you have a system similar to what I showed you to combine quantity and quality. So on one side doing a lot of ads, and on the other side just doing very good ads and have a high win rate. So you can work on the system and not just improving one specific ad, but actually making sure that you are continuously improving the system to get more and better ads. And then it's very important that in the process you have a very big focus on research. You don't do it just one time, then not touching it for 3 years, or just looking at that when you need to improve one ad, but monthly you continue to improve your research for each buyer persona, and then you continuously analyze the creatives, you see what works, and based on that you continue to improve your overall process. I hope this is valuable. This helped us a lot, and since we implemented a system for creatives, our clients scaled much more. So if you want me to go more into details of specific parts of how to create a script, how to test new formats, or anything else, just let me know. I can do another video on that. And if you already spend more than 50K a month on the meta ads, then you can just click the link below and we can get on a call and take a look at your account and what you can actually do to scale.